Okay, gentlemen, I have some things that I need to go over quickly. Um, Not a whole lot of time to do this, so I need you to pay attention to this tonight because I'm going to have very little time to talk about this tomorrow, basically on a bus ride over. We are going to move ourselves to what we define as a 5-4-1 formation. In other words, there'll be 5 defensive players, 4 players that are in front of those that will act as mids, and only 1 striker. It makes no point for us to choose to have an aggressive offensive formation when we can't ever win the ball to go aggressive. So who cares if I got 10 people forward if we can't win the ball back? So our goal is to frustrate and to create problems for this group that is coming at us. Primarily, we are building this formation to play against teams that are far more powerful than we are, i.e. Jackson Prep, Jackson Academy, etc., those types of things. So I'm going to show you this formation on a different video. That's actually somebody else talking. They won't be talking. I will be to go over a few things of what we're looking for and expecting. It won't be this entire 10-minute video as far as the clips are concerned. But I am going to go over a few things. Number one, we are missing some people tomorrow, primarily on JV. Number two, because of some of the changes that I'm making in my varsity, there's going to have to be at least one, if not several others, that were playing varsity that will maybe be helping with JV. That does not necessarily mean they're not playing varsity for me. It just means that I have no choice in the matter at this point in time. Okay, so I'm going to show us our formation here. So this is what we define as a 5, 4, and a 1. So very straightforward and should not be complicated here to understand. In this positioning, I want you to get a concept. Number one, my far outside defensive players are in front of these 3, but let me be clear about this. This makes this look like they're 5 yards in front of them. They're 2 yards in front of them. In other words, they're creating somewhat of a smile here. The only reason they're 2 yards in front of this is because these guys are going to help to be drop backs for these guys as we're moving the ball forward. Okay? So let me give you positions real quick. I'm going to go over varsity first. And then I'm going to go over JV, okay, at least for starting tomorrow, assuming that all these people are here. I don't know enough to know if Thomas Ramsey's going to be there or not, but I think everybody else talked to me, and I know where they're supposed to be, other than I don't know if William Lynn is going to be back, but please, God, tell me he is. So as it stands right now, in our lone striker position will be Jackson. Jackson will be out here in the 7. Here in the 8 will be Caden. In the 9, that is right here, will be Zach. They will play 2 mids in the center, basically creating a triangle with Jackson to create good movement of the ball and to move the ball forward. My outside wings will stay the same, that being Jacob as 10. Number 11 down here will be Braden. We will then move back to my defensive positions. Our issue is simple, and this is as bluntly as I can say this without hurting feelings, and I'm sorry if it does, but Patrick and Britt on the outside have no ability to keep up with the speed that we see on the outside. And because of that, we have to make a change. I have no ability to remove Joe and Chris from the field because of the way they touch the ball. So in other words, that creates an issue. So as of tomorrow, for the beginning of the game, I will have Patrick in this 4 position. Chris will be in the 2. Joe will remain the dead center in the 3. My far outsides in this 5 will be Carson. In this 6, starting tomorrow for me, will be Wes. This is because Carson and Wes have the speed to keep up with these outside guys. Patrick in this 4 position is going to be fighting for this 4 position with Britt. It's as simply as I can say it that way. I don't have any other way to say that. That is just what it is. Britt is going to have already been playing most likely in the JV game to try to fill in for the guys that are gone. So we're going to play that as it is. If he's not tired and Patrick's touches aren't there, then that's where Britt's going. So I don't have a choice but to try to deal with this outside movement. I am going to be prone to subbing in this position or even in these positions as I can to try to give some of these runners a little bit of a break. Paxton Cora is going to be coming in some to try to give some of these outside guys a look. These guys do not need to be coming off the field if that's at all possible. I need to be putting a Brennan out here, and I need to be putting out here a Paxton Cora, and Brennan barely has the speed to manage this 5 position just because of what they're going to do in the sense of movement. So I want you to get a concept of that as far as what positions you're going to be in for tomorrow, and just understand why I'm doing what we're doing. My goal is to create a major conflict for their offense. Okay, we are so many of us are in so many places they don't know what to do. This line between what we define as the defensive line and the midline is 10 to 15 yards maximum ever. This is never out at the 50, and this is down here on the 18 ever. If this is on the 18, we're standing right out here, okay, at the 25 to 30 yard line. 25 typically, okay? 10 yards roughly. And it's because we are creating a situation where the ball should never be past our 9, ever. Okay? They've got to be dang good, or they got to start sending it over the top. Okay? And right now, for what we're having happen to us, let them send it over the top. But these free runs down the sidelines, we're going to shut down. And we're obviously going to have so many people in the middle at this point in time between 8, 9, 2, 3, and 4 that they're not going to want to come down the middle. Okay? So this is going to be our position for varsity. Let me quickly go over this for JV so that then I can show us some other things. 7 out here is William Adams. Okay? In our front striker position. We are going to have Miller out here in this 10 on the far left wing. Wes, you'll be playing this middle position of 8 with Brennan here in your 9. The 11 that is out here is Paxton Cora. Defensively, we will have in the middle Hayden at the 3. We will have William Lynn in the 2. Out here in the 4 for tomorrow, starting unless I discover that Thomas Ramsey is going to be there for sure. Ethan Britt, you will probably be here. I will probably start you if Thomas is going to be there because I get to see you and Patrick in more game time conditions at the same time, and I get to make some decisions on what I want to do for the long haul. So Ethan Britt, you will probably be here mainly because I'm just missing so many people. If Joe Brumfield was here, he would probably be in this position, and Ethan wouldn't have to be playing down. But it is what it is for tomorrow, okay, in the 4. Alex Allen will be out here in the 6. Over here in the 5 will be Andrew Reineke. Okay? Andrew, this is a spot that you keep getting beat at unless you actually gas it. When you gas it, you can hold your own. So you're going to have to find a way to manage this because you, William Lynn, Hayden, I don't have any more speed between any of the 3 of you. I would put somebody else here like Paxton Cora if I could do that, which I would, but I can't because Aiden is here because there is no goalie. And so I can't put Aiden out here on the wing and put Paxton back here on the side, which is what I would do in a primary situation as it stands right now. But for tomorrow, I can't do that, okay, because there is no Landon at this point in time. So now you understand your positioning and where you are. I am going to show you a few positions here along the way in the sense of some of our movement so that you can get a concept really quickly, okay? So let me begin, if we can, at first by showing you here. So I'm going to pause this again. So this is going to be our positions. Notice our defense really hasn't moved, okay? They're pretty much in the same spot. They're going to be right outside the 18 because we're punting the ball, okay? We are in a punt formation, and in this case, in the dead center, okay? Square up, okay? Jackson, you've come to here. In this case, I do not care who it is. I would primarily prefer that this happens to be my 9, which in this case was Zach. I would like this to be Zach in this spot with him, right, for the sense of these two playing and moving forward. Caden, you cannot stand here against them. You are going to back up because this ball that typically gets played by their heads this way, you have the ability to touch and send. We are going to be extremely prone, as I go back here, extremely prone to sending the ball through their lines. We're not going to wait for them to set up. We don't care about letting them set up. Our goal, if we are here in a defensive spot, our defenders are not going to just boot the ball forward. We have an entire line in front of them to help out with that. You're going to play the ball out to your offense. That's 10 yards, 15 yards in front of you. Those 10 or 15 yards will then allow us to move the ball forward in our triangles and any triangle that we want to. Okay? You can see several here as you look at all of our triangles. After we have made it to this position, we do not want Prep and JA to set up defense. We want to send a ball through and then move up, putting our 4 people here, our striker going here, and our 5 defensive wall here with these 2 outside guys supporting our outside guys on this side. So Jackson may only see 5 runs in a game because we're spending so much time here, and we don't really care that they have the ball in this third. For us, it doesn't matter because we're so sick and tired of them having the ball in this third for 50 of the 60 minutes. So we solved that problem by playing it here. Far less dangerous, cannot hurt us near as bad. Then when we get our chances, we quickly get into this third so that we can be very aggressive. We want to be highly aggressive because of the men that we have moving forward with lots of balls across this direction. And I'll show you that in a second. But during our punt, we are going to be basically here. Jackson, Zach, Caden. Those guys that already know their 7, 8s, and 9s for JV should know where they are. So, should not be any confusion here. If we play a ball, right, we can go forward through to these guys in the sense of Zach playing a ball here, etc. Or we play a ball outside, we make our breaks, balls come through. Play a ball outside, sprint, balls cross to this man, and or this man. Okay? We've moved up here with a 5 to help out with that ball that's back. Since this 5 happens to be Carson, the ball touches your foot, it gets sent into the box. Okay? Everything happens in a rapid pace because we're only going to get very limited abilities to actually send a ball through. That's our goal. Should not be very complicated in that regard. Everybody take a look here. This should be roughly what we want to do when we bring the ball out. In this case, our 6 has stayed up. I don't necessarily mind if this 6 were to drop back here, okay, on the outside. But notice that the primary pass is to the 10. So in other words, this pass, Bailey, is to Jacob. Jacob, you've got to be in between these guys. And in this case, Chris, you cannot allow a ball to be taken and brought in. You've got to be willing to close that down, but you've got to be out of the way so that the ball can be brought through. This is our primary pass. They choose to step up and take this. We make this pass here. We make this pass here. Or we make this pass here. Carson, this ball goes to here. Carson, you do not have 10 minutes to make this decision. It needs to happen in a hurry. Wes, same thing. If this ball's on this side, the ball would have been played out to you, or the ball would have been moved directly to Braden in between here. In between this spot right here. And in doing so, then we'd have moved the ball up again. I do not want any more kicks just straight in the deadgum middle. I want passes here, on the 11, or this 6 that happens to be down here. Do you understand? So that's our kicks. If they want to close down on this guy every time, by God, this guy or this guy has to be open. There's no way they're not. But these kicks against Jackson Prep with people all up in this mess are killing us. Again, this gap may look 30 yards. It should not be. This guy should be down here if it's 15 to 20 yards, right? I don't want it any bigger than that, okay? 10 to 15 primarily should be our gap space between these 2 lines, okay? So everybody understands really the ball out. I'll show you that ball being moved out here to the 5, okay? Let's see if we play it. Playing the ball there from our 5 to our 10. Our 9 can also step up. That would be Zach, and take a look, if you will. Once the 9 steps up, you now have another triangle. Zach would have taken this, probably played the ball back to this 10. At the same time, where do you think 8 would have gone had Zach come there? I will move him back real quickly. I can't really do it because of the video, but 1 second. And once he moves, I will show you. Where do we go? Oh, here comes Caden. Caden, striker, Zach, triangle, ball across to this 11 who's been making his way. Okay? So everybody get this idea of how we're moving the ball out. So Andrew, this is you not messing around with the ball. Okay? I want to make that clear. Alex Allen, this is you not messing around with the ball. Y'all are going to have to be in a hurry. I know you guys do not have the best feet, but you're going to have to work on being much, much quicker at getting the ball up the sideline. You're better off kicking the ball out of the sideline, 30 yards up the sideline, than you are allowing a ball to be stolen here. Okay? It cannot happen. Chris, Joe, Patrick, Chris, Joe, Britt, stay together as you move as a unit and keep the 3 of you at pretty equal spacing, clogging the living crap out of whatever you're doing. Ball happens to be way over here. 2 is going to wind up in this position. 3 is going to wind up in this position. 4 is going to wind up in this position because you've got backside help every dead gum time. Okay? Should not be any major questions as far as that part. I will show you here, for instance, let's say a ball moving out. Let's see, I'll play it as this guy kind of goes through that. Ball to the 9. Here's our ball here. Notice he will play this ball back out here in a second and show you kind of a somewhat run. In the case of this, I will skip us to here. So notice his play is to the 10. That's our primary goal, if we can make that happen. Again, feel free to watch this video if you want to hear everything that he's telling you. Not everything that he's saying are things that we're necessarily going to do. Notice how he's keeping these 3 together. Notice how we're dropping if we have to. Okay? As the ball is played, winds up getting moved, we move as a unit. Okay? The 5 of us should be a wall that's basically impenetrable. Okay? Should not be a question in the slightest. Okay? Ball should be about to get moved out. All right, so now here we are. We've made our way up. Okay? Notice here, we have the ball pushed up. We have a drop back pass, right, to our 8 or our 9, and our 8 or our 9 that's here. We're making sure that we're able to fire balls from these positions because we don't want to drive through the rest of their defensive spots. Jackson Academy and MRA aren't going to suck. They're going to do their job. We know they are. Okay? So because of that, we want the ball shot in. We want the ball being crashed down. We want the ball being crossed across this way for the 11 to put the ball back in. Braden here, Jacob here, you have to be highly aggressive moving on each side. Not going to have a choice there. 5, feel free. Look, Jacob, feel free. Drop the ball. Send the ball right back to him in this spot. Okay? If we're able to get ourselves, for instance, I'm going to watch us move here just a little bit. Hold on. Let's say we get the ball all the way down to here, right? We know where our crosses are. They're going to happen through this section. Not through this section. He picks this up. Through this section as it goes through the edge of the box to the outside. You've closed down. You've given a pass right back to Caden, who's closed down. You've allowed a ball to come back through these guys, and Zach is closed, or Caden is closed through, whatever it happens to be, okay? Your goal is to be very, very aggressive in the sense of taking the few chances we get when we move forward. Joe, number 3, you have got to get extremely vocal. When you want this guy to move a ball back, you tell him. When you want this guy to cross a ball, you tell him. Joe or Chris, if it's Chris, if you'd rather do that, because Joe doesn't want to be vocal, I don't care who it is, you have the ability to see the field. They have 5 guys here. What's our play? Well, either get it over the top of them in a hurry, or get the ball dropped back so that it can come back around the 5 guys. Okay? All right, we're not talking about hamburgers here. All right, so let me make that abundantly clear. Okay? Notice here our movement, all right? In other words, in this case, we've dropped the ball back. The 11's going to have to get out of there at this point in time. Okay? You can see that again here. We've moved the ball back again. Again, notice how aggressive we're being in this case. These guys, again, are ready to help to protect us. Okay? So, please feel free to watch the rest of this video on YouTube if you want to. I don't care if you do or don't. He's kind of prepping this for a girls team that's going to be traveling and doing some stuff. But what I care about is that you understand a major concept of what the 5 and the 4 is going to look like. Again, these guys, the only way that Carson should be 10 yards in front of this group is because a ball got played out and Carson sent it and then Carson's back. Carson, and on this side with Wes, Paxton, or whoever I've got out here, you have a primary purpose. You're a defender. You're a facilitator for this guy and this guy, but you're a defender. The 5 of you build a wall. You don't stand in front of my goalie and build a wall. That's not what you're going to do. You're going to play to these guys, and you're going to be very good about getting the ball back to them and those kinds of things. You're still going to kick the crap out of balls in the 6, out of bounds, etc. But you are going to say, you know what, I got the ability to stand in a rondo with 9 dudes and to move a ball slightly forward if it's a yard every 30 seconds because I got help everywhere versus feeling like you're out there on your own. Okay? We're basically going to move as an entire posse from this position, 5 yards and 5 yards and 5 yards and 5 yards if that's what it takes. At the same time, we're going to move to here. When we see that they're all bunched in between us, in this case, they got 8, 9 guys. They got 2 guys back here on defense because we only got 1 dude right here, right, as a striker. This ball's getting sent over the top as quickly as we can get it back here so that Jackson can hunt it down and cross the ball. Jackson comes here to close it down. Here's our 11 moving to the center. 10's moved all the way to the outside. 8 and 9 to move to the front so that Zach and Caden can finish. We get the balls going to the box and we get it going. Okay? So again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me on GroupMe. I'm about to post this on YouTube and quickly link this in the GroupMe account. I expect everybody to know what's going on before I see you tomorrow. You should not even ask me who's starting in what position. You should already know it. Okay? If you do not have your white jersey, then you need to do so because that's in my room. You can come get it in the morning, and not your jersey, but your polo. And tomorrow you should have red and blue and red. That's what you should have for tomorrow. We're not wearing any white and gray. They're wearing white. Okay? All right, I'm about to stop this video. Look forward to having a conversation with you about it here in just a little bit.